NRW checkpoint. It's our first of the new year 2023. Of course, you're joined by the most stylish gaming host around on the YouTubes. Myself, WebsterStyle, the man, the voice, the fragrance, and also joined by my brother in gaming, Brian Sapph. How you doing today, Brian? Happy New Year
Not
to
so
you.
stylish, but I'm here. I'm all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. It's 2023. It's so weird to say that from your lips. Not just that it's another year, but it's 2023, especially if you were born before 2000 and you
Yeah,
grew up in the 80s and 90s, you're like 2023 seems so far away. And now we're in 2023 and talking about planning for 2024 and 2025.
yeah. It's funny how time flies.
Yes, yes, yes.
Whew.
Speaking of time flying, we have, you and I've talked many times over the past year or so about backlog, and just like
Mhm.
last week, there are no new releases this week, which I was actually somewhat surprised with because I would think there would be some releases because people got money for Christmas and Hanukkah and all that good stuff,
Yeah,
and people like buying video games, but we probably won't see any real major releases at least until next month. I'm sure we're going to get some over the next couple weeks before February, but major stuff is probably not coming until uh, right toward the end of Q1, which would be March-ish time frame, especially based on a lot of the rumors. So today we're going to talk about games that we plan on finishing there. With a backlog,
it's real.
the backlog is real, exactly. And just because we plan on finishing these games, they're games that keep coming out every single week. And
And that's
especially
my
when you
problem.
have services like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, there's
Right,
always something new to find to
right.
play. So we are not writing this down in blood that we're going to finish these, but that's the plan. So, Brian,
Definitely.
you actually touched on your first game uh, during our the games, our top three of 2022.
Hmm.
And what game are you planning on finishing this week or this month? Not this week, not this month, this
This,
year before the
yeah.
end of calendar year 2023.
Yeah. So that title would go to God of War from 2018. Have to be specific about that, obviously, because the entire God of War's franchise is at this point I guess it's a reboot. I don't know the correct like terminology because the original God of War 1, 2, and 3, and then the one that came out on PSP, that was its own like collection of storytelling. But then this new age God of War that kind of started in 2018, and now we're on Ragnarok, which will most likely get a God of War 3, maybe even 4. Um, I don't know. It's still Kratos, but like it's interesting how they did the story because he doesn't have, I don't know. It's weird to explain. This Kratos in the God of War 2018 is the same Kratos, but he doesn't have the same like I can't think of what I'm trying to say. He
It's
doesn't
grown up
have
and
this.
matured.
No, his story is a little bit different
Okay.
because in God of War, the original franchise or the first franchise, I don't know if that's actually original, but the first franchise, we meet Kratos. He's on his quest to basically kill the gods because they killed his wife and child.
Right.
And over time, over time, he ends up like ascending to the throne and actually becoming a god and stuff like that. And I think on the last game, he ends up falling back to Earth or whatever. I think he loses his battle with Zeus or whatever after killing like 5 other gods to get to
Hmm.
him. And it's a whole thing. Now, in this version, this 2018 version, Kratos doesn't have, he still remains like he's a demigod at this point. I'll say that. He doesn't, he has a new wife. Well, no, he has a kid now, and his wife is has her own story that's kind of not the same as the original. Either way, The game is great. There's a lot of great storytelling. I feel like I am at least 30% done. 30 to 45, 30 to 40% done with the story. I play it in bits and pieces as I can. It's just a really, really interesting story. You know, I really like RPGs, and with the announcement of Ragnarok, I was like, oh, I need to finish it. And then I just kind of kept playing through it slowly. And then Ragnarok comes out, wins all these awards at the Game Awards, and I'm like, I definitely need to finish it now. So that's the first one. That's the one that I'm like, I'm being intent on trying to finish so I can get to Ragnarok and continue the story. I'm not just jump in on this part. Like, no, I like to start from the beginning and understand what's going on. And with games like this that have a linear storyline like that, it's best to just do it that way, just so you understand everything. But yes, so my first game of 2023 that I definitely plan on finishing, again, not written in blood because things happen, but I definitely plan on finishing this one. It is God of War 2018. Let's check out the trailer.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there do I see my mother.
He has this kid here.
Oh, there do I see my father.
What's his name? Start with an A.
Oh, there do they call to me.
But
oh, there do they call to me. Oh, there do they call to me.
It's really, really riveting.
That bow's a little big for you,
here.
isn't it?
My mother made it for me.
Not aware.
I had to go into it.
This version of God of War, this Kratos and things, is about to be adapted.
Find your way home.
A series. I think it's either going to HBO or Amazon. I'm not 100% sure.
Taking your ashes to the highest peak in the realms.
The conversation is already happening.
It was our last
for
wish.
a leading actor at this point.
Where must we go?
I think it's Amazon.
To a realm beyond your own.
See, even right, like this lady.
There's only one person who can get you where you need to go.
At the point of the game that I'm at,
smartest man alive.
whisked away by
First,
something
you need to
that's
cut off
not
my head.
supposed to be where
Wait,
we
what?
are.
That axe you got. You gotta handle her special.
I know you're a god. Not of this realm, but there's no
One thing I like
mistaking
about
it. He doesn't know, does he? About your
how
true
they
nature?
reinterpret this.
Or his own?
The longer you wait for what damage you do, he will resent you and you may lose him forever.
You're nuts! I'll rip your head off!
There are consequences to killing a god.
Why? How do you know? How do you know?
Power.
This
weapon,
showing
weapon.
the third person view
Comes from here,
sees you
but only when tempered by this.
really connect the player more so with the
Self-control
story.
of the one who wields it.
What was done previously in the series, and I really give my hats off to Sony and Santa Monica.
We need your help.
Really being able to take that original
is no
material, and
ordinary
really craft an engaging
Boy's
story.
true nature, your
with
true
excellent
nature
gameplay delivery.
fights within him.
I agree, because the original story it was really good. I had a very, very good time like playing through the original God of War. Like I played the first 3, beat those. There was a PSP version that came out that was kind of like it wasn't like a part of the main storyline, but it was like a side quest that ended up turning into a long ass game. But yeah, the storytelling in this game is amazing, and they really, like you said, they took the character and they found a new way to repurpose them and things. Like even this axe was not a part of the original like those make a return, but his primary weapon is an axe, and I'm assuming that this axe is it belongs to Thor because he's the first guy or is it Thor's axe? This axe belongs to one of the gods, and Kratos is like, he has it, but he doesn't know. Well, it came from his wife, but he doesn't know how she got it because, to his knowledge, she's mortal. So how did you get a weapon that was crafted by gods? Like, it's a whole story thing there. It's pretty interesting. I'm really excited to finish the story when I have the time.
So, well, that's a great way to start us off with this. Games we're trying to play before the end of 2023. There aren't too many games, at least in the past couple of years, that really you can be honored to have at the top of your backlog.
Right.
So, So that's cool. We'll get more into Brian's next or after my first pick. And my first pick
what do you have?
Is actually a game that came out in December of 2021. And I played it a lot during that break and a lot into the beginning of 2022. Then, games keep coming out.
Games came out.
And you get sidetracked. And I realized the other day that I literally haven't picked this up in months. No, it was cheertreatments.com. If you've seen the video that I put out with the my top 5 is both on Nerds Rule the World and on WebsterStyle on YouTube, you'll see that game plate, that plate there that tells the games that I played, how many games that I played, my achievement scores, and my top game, which you see is Turtles, which is no surprise. But when I log into it, because I attached my Xbox Live account to it, I can literally see every game that I played. I mean, every game that I played back to 360 era.
Oh, wow.
As long as we're internet connected.
Yeah.
And I realized that I haven't touched the gunk since March of 2022. And I'm like, really? I'm like, oh man, the gunk was just such a game I was high on. It's just really awesome. And the gunk is a story-driven action-adventure video game that's in a third-person perspective. In this game, the player assumes control of Rani, a scavenger who has arrived on an alien planet with her partner Beck. The alien planet features various biomes such as canyons, jungles, and caves, but the terrain has been corrupted by a black slime-like parasite named the gunk, which is actively harming the environment and the wildlife. So Rani is equipped with this like power glove like thing, which allows her to basically suck up things, throw them, but also more importantly, clear the environment of gunk to help restore the natural environment. So there are puzzles, there are enemies, but the whole goal of the story is to find out the source of the gunk and also restore the planet. And it's just I like the puzzles. I really enjoyed the gameplay, and it was just, for me, a unique gameplay experience. And, we've talked many times over the past, months and over a year now about, it's not about these AAA super duper 4K graphics. It's really about gameplay. It's really about story. And more importantly, it's really about heart. And those are 3 things that the gunk really displays. So I was really surprised that it had been so long since I had sat down and had to play through the game. So that is definitely my first game on the list that I'm going to jump into in 2023. And let's jump into the trailer.
Let's. I feel like
Rated T for teen.
Saying something about this game.
Yes.
The first thing that came to my mind was like, it sounds like an Xbox version of Mario Sunshine. And
yes, we did. When we talked about it, it does have that similarity. I like playing. It
doesn't look like much from space. But if we find the motherlode of that energy, we can make the stars came first.
Articulation. I love the art style of it as well. So here we have areas that aren't affected by the gunk.
Find a way to change his speech code. This place must have been abandoned for ages. The gunk's taking over.
I like games like this. This is something
I've never broken a bone in my life.
Mario Sunshine. Even Pikmin has this kind of
come here on a rescue mission.
Restoring the environment or some type of life to thrive on. This just looks cool though. I like I said, the animation on this looks great.
It's fun, and this is actually one of those games where if I don't finish it before Game Pass leaves Game Pass, because it's still on Game Pass, I'm definitely buying it. Like I would own this because it's that unique of a game for me, at least, that I would be, especially even on Game Pass. it's always like a 20% discount, and when it's about to leave, it's usually like a 35 to 40% discount.
Okay,
so I'll still get it on the cheap.
Yeah, that's good.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to finishing the gunk this year. What's your next pick, Brian?
My next one is actually a game that also has won a bunch of awards at the Game Awards. It is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I played this game like consistently. I want to say because God of War, right? That one was it was on PlayStation as one of the free games or whatever. So, the rules with that is you download the game to your library or whatever. You get to keep it forever as long as you pay your PlayStation Plus subscription. So I'm all right, cool. Right. Don't have to worry about beating it or whatever. Just, it's there. Have that. Guardians of the Galaxy, on the other hand, I paid for that. I saw the trailer for it. I knew it was coming out. I was like, I want this game. Just so happened, I feel like there was like a little sale at the time when I was looking at buying something new. I was like, this is the one I want. Played it nonstop every day for I don't know how long. Got really, really close to the end of the story. Something else came out. I was like, oh, I want to play this. Take a break. Never went back to Guardians of the Galaxy. But that is not to say that it's a bad game. The game is actually pretty amazing. And I hope that with the release of was it Volume 3 is about to come to theaters? Yeah, I hope that with the release of Volume 3, it kind of inspires Marvel to make a sequel to this game, because based on where I am in the story, the game is really, really good. And I'm a little bit upset with myself for not completing it, because that was my thing last year. I was like, if I buy a game, I'm going to complete it. No questions asked, focus on that. Didn't do it. But I got close enough to the end of the story that it's like, okay, great. I can definitely put some time in. I think maybe I have maybe 2 hours left.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, it's I don't know specifically, because I haven't looked up like anything about the game or how to beat it or anything like that. I'm really just playing based on what I can figure out as a gamer. So I don't think I am too far, maybe 2 hours. That's what I'm guessing, just by the way that the chapters have been lining up and how the things have been finishing out. I know I'm close to the end of the story. There's a big I guess plot device happening right now that would lend to the game being over once you figure out what's going on. Either way, the game is amazing. It's Square Enix did this, right?
See, and that's what I wanted to get into, because I have been meaning to get into this game. It's on Game Pass. I think it's on PlayStation Plus as well. I've been meaning to get into it because it looked amazing. There was no reason for me not to, just as far as time.
Yeah.
And I was literally thinking the other day, because if I remember, Square, they sold all of their Western developers to Eraser. And I believe all of those IPs transferred over. And I was just thinking, I hope they put some money into some advertising, or Xbox or PlayStation puts money into advertising for this game with Volume 3 coming out, because it's a perfect time to capitalize on the hype of the movie, to get people more interested in it, even though the game was like 2 years old now, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's still a great looking game. It holds up well, and it's a very unique Guardians of the Galaxy experience. So it does need to be tied to the game to benefit. It's going to be tied to the movie to benefit from the movie coming out. So I hope somebody has the right mind to piggyback off of the hype of the movie to say, hey, this game is here. It's on Game Pass, so it's on PlayStation Plus, and you can play it here for just, well, in the case of Xbox, for just $1 for the first, something like that. They're pretty much going to let money go by if they don't.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because Marvel has done something really, really like incredible with their properties, which, to me anyway, that is making sure that people understand that every iteration of their properties have their own like set path and like world and everything. So by that, I mean, the comic books are one thing, the movies and the MCU, that's its own separate thing. Of course, they all pull from each other, but they've done a really good job at making sure whatever stories happens in the video games or whatever, that's fair. The character is allowed to go through that. It's not necessarily going to dictate anything that happens in the comic books or reflect anything that has happened in the comic books. But because it took place, there's always room for that. Because, comic books keep coming out, even though people kind of have relegated that to an ancient kind of thing. Either way, I really, really enjoy the story that's being told. Like, obviously we have Star-Lord and, the regular cast is there. But there is also like Gamora is different, and we know even in the MCU right now today, we're in a limbo space with Gamora and what she's gonna be moving forward, because she died. Gamora is different. There's a different version of Mantis in the game that's like typical, or not typical, but she's reminiscent of the movies, but still different in her own rights or whatever. I don't think we've delved that far into where the holiday special left us off at. I'm not going to spoil it just in case anybody hasn't seen it yet. But there's a lot of moving parts to the story that pull directly from the comic books, but it's still telling its own story. Even, I don't know if you know things about Guardians of the Galaxy. The Nova Corps is in the game, and they have some shady stuff going on. Like, the game's incredible. I really enjoy it. The battle system is really, really dope. There's this moment where you can like sync all of the characters up, because you play as Peter, but then he's able, with your controller, you're able to command, Groot and everybody else Drax, everybody who battles. And then there's this moment where you can like do this cool like unification thing, like this super combo with everybody's involved. And then even when you're not battling, each character has a specific thing that they do in order to help you progress the game. So like Gamora is really good at climbing. She helps you get, scale things. And Drax is strong, so he lifts up heavy stuff. And Groot can grow his limbs, so he turns into bridges at certain points of the game. Like, it's really, really dope and really thought out the way that they did it. But for whatever reason, a game came out, I got sidetracked. But I really, really want to finish the story because it got really, really interesting. Well, it was always interesting from the beginning. From the moment you figure out how Star-Lord comes into who he is and get his weapons and things like that, the story like continues to just get better and better. I'm at a very climactic point. I do remember that, even though I haven't opened the game in a couple months, I know exactly where I left off at. That's how I know the game is good and how that I want to finish it. So without further ado, let's check out the trailer for it.
5,000 units to the Hellraiser who kills the so-called guardian of the galaxy.
We got this.
Guys, huddle up! We'll win this together. Hit the music. Rejoice!
That's another thing that's really, really dope about this game. The soundtrack is amazing. They did something really cool, which I've rarely seen done, is where you can put the game in streaming mode. So if you're like playing on YouTube or Twitch and you want to get copyright violated by the music, they have a mode that kind of like switches the soundtrack out for something more generic. But the soundtrack is really, really great. You know all of these songs, Webster, I'm pretty sure you do, because they're all like from Peter's time on Earth. He's an 80s baby, so.
Drax, destroy!
I'm really.
What are you doing here?
Aren't you a little young for the Corps?
Aren't you a little old for that hairdo?
Even the cutscenes are really good. Like, they did a fantastic job with this game. I really understand after playing it myself why it won all the awards it did, all the acclaim it received. It's really, really good, and I appreciate it. Like playing through this game, first Marvel game in a long time where I'm like putting all my time and efforts into it, and I feel like I'm being rewarded with a really good story, and very, very good battle system. The combat is really, really great, and it's it's single player, so I really like RPGs. That's me.
Let me tell you, what was it? 1994. Whenever it was. Might have been earlier. Back. And this is not even this version of Guardians of the Galaxy. This is the original, well, not really original, but the Jim Valentino Guardians with Martin X. You see them in Yondu, what Yondu really looks like.
Yes.
If you could have told that kid in high school that he'd be playing a Guardian of the Galaxy video game one more time, he would have not have believed you. That was probably one of the last Marvel properties I would have ever thought I'd be sitting here talking about as a video game.
Yeah. And listen, I agree with you. That's why I was like so heavily like invested in this game, because I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. They're at best, they're B-list. It's a B-list unit of characters there as far as the Marvel hierarchy is concerned.
Or D.
Well, I mean,
seriously.
They've grown in popularity because their movies have been great.
Did it, and they did a good job with the characters to get us to
this game, it takes it up even a step further. Like the level, even something as simple as customizations in this game, because the look of the characters, it rarely matters in games. Like what these characters have on really matters, but because it is a Marvel property, they give you plenty of opportunity to unlock skins, and each of the skins is a different version of those Guardians of the Galaxy from comic book to movie. Like it's really pretty dope. You can build out the skill trees on the characters so that you, depending on your play style, if you rather be more long range when it comes to the combat system or whatever, you could build out the skill tree so that the characters focus more on long range. It's all kind of things you could do to make this gaming experience your own, and they do a really good job. And the story is actually the main thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm playing a movie every time I watch it. It's that good.
I really think that's what games are supposed to be, especially these narrative games.
I agree.
Games. I need to feel like I'm playing a movie.
I agree. But what's your next game? Which one are you looking forward to?
We talk about characters, and this game features one of the most iconic characters in all of video game history now. At least for the past 20 years.
Okay.
And it's none other than Master Chief in Halo Infinite. Now, I am not a multiplayer I wouldn't say fan, but I've gotten out of playing multiplayer shooters for a very long time ago. I don't think I've played like matchmaking and stuff since Halo 2, honestly. And we're talking about OG Xbox Halo 2, not playing on my Xbox 360 Halo 2. So I'm always very much into Halo for the story. And I really got into Halo Infinite when it came out. But it's funny, I am always, at least with Halo, I always get to a point, then I'll stop. Then I'll come back months later, work through that point, stop. So I'm due for, it's been a few months, a lot of months, to go back to Halo Infinite and go through, because I just, even what I know of the campaign is really compelling. I've loved every minute of it that I've played, and I'm only about maybe 3 hours into the campaign, if I remember correctly. I'm not that far. Maybe 2 or 3 hours. So I'm not super far in the game, but it's the Halo narrative for me is just so compelling from a sci-fi aspect. Even through playing Halo 5, which wasn't the best, there is something about, look, I am not a hater of 343 Industries. Is Is Halo as good as it was with Reach, Bungie's last effort? No. Is Halo still better than most of the first-person shooters out there as far as story and gameplay? And yes,
absolutely,
definitely.
I can say that never have played Halo.
Even a mediocre Halo game, narratively speaking, is better than about 90% of the games that are in that genre. And again, that's not a drinking a Kool-Aid. That's just of playing an experience. So let's say I'm looking forward to playing more through Halo Infinite and finally finishing the game and see more of the story. And I think about the games and even the mediocre Halo games being better, and I think about the TV show. And I hope and pray they get it right for season 2.
Listen, man,
the TV show is not bad. Okay, it's how can I put it? They took so many deviations from the lore to create something new, and it wasn't necessary, in my opinion.
Okay.
In order to, and I'm getting off track. I'm gonna get to the trailer, but it's one of those things where if you have a gaming property that has a story that millions and tens of millions of people have played through and loved, why do you think you need to change it for TV?
Exactly.
Like, not just change it, tweak it, change it drastically for TV. Why do you think that's necessary? And I'm looking forward to other adaptations like The Last of Us, because it seemed like they know, like, hey, we got the story here. There's no point in changing it. Great. Let's just make a live action version. All right. That's what it looks like. So like without further ado, right. So let's get into the trailer for Halo Infinite.
This Halo has always been a game that I've been slightly like, I really want to play this, and it's one of the ones that like
your life differently.
When I've been heavily considering Xbox just specifically so I can play this game.
I told you, Brian, just pay that $1 for Game Pass.
You right. You told me about that last time. You right.
I mean, because you got Halo 5 on there, you got Halo Infinite, and you got the Master Chief Collection, which has Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, Reach, and ODST.
Oh, wow.
So every Halo game, and I mean every, even the RTS games, Halo Wars, the mobile game, Spartan Assault. Surprisingly, the second game isn't on there, Spartan Strike. But no, that didn't get a console release. That was strictly mobile and PC.
Okay.
I know because I bought both of them on mobile. And because of that, I had them on PC, and I owned them also on 360, Assault.
Something pushed back.
So, play anywhere. Another thing I like about Microsoft.
You are not
the
future.
I think with this game, the draw for me is that it kind of, for whatever reason, I feel like it's 007, but like futuristic and better.
You know, I can get that vibe. And that you put it that way. 007 with a badass suit armor.
As much as I enjoyed the multiplayer aspect of 007, the campaigns were always pretty good as well. Feels like Halo kind of falls into that same thing. Good campaign. If you want to play the multiplayer, it's also available.
Is everyone trying to kill you?
It kind of seems like it.
Yeah, it's pretty much,
That looks great too, man.
Yeah. It's a fun game. Like I said, dropping $299 for a system, even though it's cheap, it's still $300.
It still is. I know.
Bills to pay.
Big ones, big bills.
Yes,
a lot of those.
That's one of the things I like about Game Pass is that you don't need to own the platform. If I remember correctly, you do need a PlayStation for PlayStation Plus. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't need a platform. You don't need. Well, you don't need a console, but you do have games that you cannot play unless you have a console.
Right.
But a lot of the popular titles, like all the Halo games, are available via Cloud Play, or there are PC versions that you can download on your PC.
Okay.
PC game. So yeah. So that's why I say that's one thing I love about Game Pass. If you don't have a system, hey, you kind of do have a system if you want one. At relatively low price.
Right.
So that's it for Halo for me. What's next on your list, Brian?
Next on my list is one game that I actually bought this year. I bought it. Black Friday was a couple weeks ago. They had a sale going on. I'm a huge fan of the anime that's attached to this game. So I was like, when I saw the trailer for the game, I have to buy this game. Obviously, games are $60, $70 today, which, that's doable, but I don't want to do it. So I found other things to play, and then lo and behold, beautiful, beautiful Black Friday sale on the PlayStation Store. It's the first game I bought. This is Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles, and the reason that it's on my backlog, even though I just bought it today, is because the game has been out for quite some time. I want to say we're going on year 2 or 3 of Demon Slayer being out. Either way, it's on my backlog, and it's one that I need to complete because the trailer for season 3, is it season 3 or 4? The trailer for this upcoming season of Demon Slayer has come out, and they've been following the seasons, adding each season to the game as, a playable thing that you can do, and the characters and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, when season 3 or whatever season is, I believe it's 3. Yeah, Entertainment District. What's this one called? I forget. Either way, I'm like, okay, when this new season premieres, I know they're gonna add this stuff to the game. I want to be caught up so I can play through this story and have the characters I want to play and use it. It's a fighting game. There's I won't say that. There's a campaign mode, and it's actually pretty good. But it's a fighting game at its core, whatever. So, I mean, I could just, I don't necessarily have to beat the story, but obviously beating the story unlocks extra things as well as important characters that you would need, because there's an online component to it for playing against people. It's a fighting game. So, of course, you can play online against other people. Either way, Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicles is something that I've been enjoying. I pick it up at least once a week, maybe twice, since I bought it or whatever, just to play through it or whatever, get everything going. I'm halfway through the story, the campaign mode. I just need to finish it out. Then once I do that, the third one should be on the horizon. The DLC for chapter 3 should be in there, and I'll be ready to go. But I put it on here because I've been enjoying it as of late, and I bought other games since then. I've been taking my time away from it, so unfortunately, it's already slipping into backlog status. But I'm definitely going to complete it this year so that I'm prepared for when the new DLC drops for this upcoming season of Demon Slayer. With that, go ahead and jump into the trailer. Check out this amazing fighting game that is not unlike the rest of the fighting developed by this company, which is weird because it is. It's
night is as bright as the day here.
I think it's CyberConnect
totally
too.
Different from living in the mountains.
All of the shonen anime, they have fighting games that are pretty much the same, but Demon Slayer is a little bit different because
and why now?
There's the element to it that
was left in my home.
Anime almost to a T. And this is what you're seeing right now on screen. He's running through the entertainment district, tracking down this demon based on the scent that he smells. This is the demon here.
I've never seen him before.
The person that killed his family and turned his sister into a demon herself. Got a story here. Obviously, great storytelling because anime. And
looks like you're playing
it. I've been enjoying it and really, really interested to finish. I know how it ends because I passed all this point on the anime. But there's been little things that they've been throwing in left and right because it is a fighting game.
Suddenly stops
different
here.
challenges and stuff for you to do.
Do I just keep going?
That's Nezuko there, sister who's a demon, but she's not a bad demon. Still trying to understand that. We'll get more information.
There, the opening threat.
Read the manga, doesn't already know what time it is.
Sure, you don't offend the lady in any way.
Demon Slayer, man.
There's an entire house hidden back here.
My favorite anime right now.
Get down! Miss Tamayo, are these the kind of demons you need?
I'd presume so.
Yes.
Then their blood will be yours. With my vision, you'll be able to see the arrow's movements. So hurry up and cut their heads off. Thanks to Yushiro, I can see the ball's trajectories. Now to finish this.
Follow my lead, Yahaba. Earrings. If I defeat him, I'll be the favorite for sure.
And see, you can see right now, there's some fighting going on. This is part of what I enjoy about this particular game, because like I said, all the shonen anime, they pretty much have a fighting game that's, similar to one another. And this is similar to other fighting games in the past. However, all of these demons, they have...
You can't defeat me no matter who you are.
Very, very interesting combat, because it's not something that you can just like get used to over time and just run through the game. Like you actually have to understand what the strategy is behind the demon you're fighting.
Twist! Envelop! Twisting whirlpool! Flowing water!
I'm not excited watching this over.
Going on year 2 then. But yeah, that's Demon Slayer. All the anime fans, they know what's up. I'm playing it. I'm trying to beat it before the new season drops and they add the DLC with all of that content. So what about you? What's the last game on your list that you have backlogged and would love to finish?
This is definitely the oldest game on the list. I haven't had this game for this long, but I've wanted to play and finish this game for this long. For 19 years. I wanted to play and finish this game, and I just purchased it, I think about a year or 2 ago, maybe 3 now, because they as in Microsoft had it on sale for $5. And that is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords.
Okay.
And I played a little bit of it, but if you've played KOTOR 1, you know how you get sucked into that game. And I have just never had, like, literally with KOTOR 1, because I bought KOTOR 1 on an OG Xbox like the day it came out. Like, I was so hyped for that game. I played that game with that release, June or July of 03 or 02? I was in Jersey that summer, so I think it was 02. Anyway, I played that nonstop from June, July until October until I beat it. And then play through it again.
Wow.
It's so awesome. And I always wanted to play the sequel. I was always kind of put off because BioWare didn't do it. And again, that's before I knew how good Obsidian was. So I was like, BioWare didn't do it. Another group did it, but I don't want to. So over the years, I'm like, okay, I want to get it. And then I finally pulled the trigger and I started playing it and I love it. And I got to be dedicated, and I haven't been dedicated to playing it because that is a game that for me, I won't want to stop playing, and I will keep playing for hours. So I never have hours to play that game. But looking at my schedule for the rest of the year, there's going to be some time where I am going to have time to sit and dedicate to playing an RPG like that. So I'm looking forward to doing that and playing and beating KOTOR 2. And we're talking about the OG Xbox version. And again, that version was upgraded at least to the Series X. And that was one of the great things about Xbox. They upgraded those older titles, so I didn't have to buy a remastered version. No, they upgraded and remastered it through the system. I mean, we're talking about an OG Xbox title that was upgraded all the way up to the Series, not Series X, but the Xbox One X.
Okay.
So not quite next gen, but almost next gen.
Yeah. Good enough.
So even though I just have a lowly Xbox One, I'm looking forward to playing it. And there's something about games, even in that Xbox, PlayStation generation, and GameCube as well. The great games hold up regardless of the graphical fidelity compared to newer systems.
Absolutely.
And that is, like, you don't bat an eye. You don't think, oh, this looks... You know how you look at PlayStation 1 games and you're just like, we thought this was good?
Yeah, that's what I was playing back in the day. Yeah.
Right. and that's not even comparing it to games like for this generation. That's even comparing it to like PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3 game.
Yeah, that console jump, it came with a big graphic boost.
Right. But not even just that. There are the great games, even PlayStation games, but the great games just hold up so well. I'm even thinking just Dreamcast games. That Dreamcast games that look like they could run on the Switch, and I'm still playing Sonic Adventure on my Xbox.
Put it out.
So I'm just saying, this is just one of those games that, yes, it looks like an OG Xbox game, but it holds up so well and tells so far just a great story. And this is before we got the current games with Jedi Outcast and Jedi Survivor, which is coming out for Outcast, which is out, and Survivor, which is coming out. Those immersive Star Wars games when we didn't have them, and that's what KOTOR and KOTOR 2 represent. So with that, before I get long-winded, let's look at a trailer for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, and this is from the remaster that dropped on the Switch last year, I think it is.
Okay. That's one of the free PlayStation Plus games for this month, and I think I'm gonna buy it because that Survivor trailer, I was really into that. Like I need
cannot hope to triumph against them alone. In the end, I fear it may not be enough.
You know not what path you walk, Jedi.
Yeah. You can look Jedi. At it and just tell, like, this is...
She has lost herself.
Probably get to be a Jedi. If you was a Star Wars fan, you
the Force.
You definitely pick this game up.
Man, I'm telling you, man. Like I said, I've only played a little bit of this one. That's why KOTOR 1 is so weird. It is really like the definitive Star Wars. Even till the day, it's still like you have Outcast, you have Survivor, but the KOTOR games are just, they're still A+ when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to space travel, when it comes to just telling a complete story. And that's why I'm just really looking forward to and making it a point to finish KOTOR 2 before the end of 2023.
I agree. Now, let me ask you before we close out. Do you have any honorable mentions? Just real quick. You won't have to spend a whole lot of time on it. Just, do you have at least one that you're like, also this one as well? And that's it.
Man, there are too many games in my backlog, honestly. For me to think of one on the fly, I'm like, I want to play Shredder's Revenge because we got to the second form of Super Shredder before we got killed, and we haven't gone back yet. So I'm like, maybe that one. And then I'm thinking, okay, the Artful Escape. I was playing that heavy and never finished that.
Okay.
And what's another one? Those are my two. Those are my two honorable mentions.
Okay.
Off the top of my head. How about you?
I just bought I think I talked about this already. I just bought Fire Emblem,
yes,
3 Houses. I'm enjoying it. Like, I've been playing it every day, and it's backlog at this point because that game came out 3, 4, 5 years ago. Fire Emblem Engage is getting ready to come out like in a week or two, but definitely playing through that, trying to beat it. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's just like the Fire Emblem games I remember as on the Game Boy, having a good time with that. And then I guess one other one I have, well, two. Horizon, I need to finish that because I got it on the free PlayStation Plus thing, and I started playing it. I was into it or whatever. Then I got something else, and I started playing that, as well as I have both Neo 1 and 2, and I just know those are incredible games, so I want to jump in. I also have what's the other sword fighting game? What's the guy? It's like black and white. I can't think of it. It's not off the top of my head, but it's a samurai game. I'm pretty sure somebody knows. Critically acclaimed, won a bunch of awards. I want to think of it just so I know. But yeah, backlog is crazy. And I'm talking about buying a PlayStation 5 here in the next couple of weeks so I can be ready for Hogwarts Legacy. Like, I don't know if I have time, but I'm going to try because I game like that. That's it, though.
All right. So what's coming up with you this week?
This week, so I put out like an episode on my podcast here. Maybe it hasn't even been a week yet. I'm already preparing for the next episode. Told myself like, hey, let's be a little bit more consistent. I know it's your thing. You can do what you want to do with it.
Right.
But let's try to be more consistent or whatever. That way the episodes don't end up being super long. So Talk+Play blerdcast, another one should be coming out in the next couple of days. I've already started recording, so that should be happening. And then, we got more content coming on NRW Checkpoint. So you can find me there, as well as Instagram and Twitter if you like putting in ads in weird places. That's it.
Exactly. I was on track and now I'm off track because of the holiday, but I got my next couple episodes planned. But next episode, when it comes out, hopefully next week, based on when it comes out, looking at a couple different things, but I'm going to at least give my opinion on Marvel Phase 4.
Okay.
At least in my opinion, it wasn't as bad as everybody. Well, not everybody. The general consensus I feel like is wrong. It's just different from all the other phases that came before. And I don't think people have a grasp on really understanding what it is, because they're comparing it to what was not allowing Marvel to change and grow.
Right. So. And I don't think people, well, just to add 2 cents to that, I don't think people understand the gravity of what Marvel did for Phase 4. Like, this is the first time in the MCU where their television programming is in direct, it's like the glue holding together all of the movies. Marvel hasn't done that before. We know they did a bunch of stuff on Netflix or whatever, but that was its own universe. The Defenders was their own separate thing. What Marvel's doing now with Disney Plus on their, TV side and then these movies, it's different. I know why people feel the way what they feel, but I agree with you. It's not as bad as everybody said.
Thank you. So, of course, you're not on Talk+Play blerdcast. You're not on Sartorian Geek podcast. You're on Nerds Rule the World. And make sure you check us out on Twitter at the NRW, on Instagram at News Wednesday. Of course, you're currently on YouTube, so make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell.
Right, goddamn now. Okay.